viewers, and you're joining us now for the final set of preview videos looking at Project Cars before the release in early May. And you're joining us racing around in Le Mans. Great racetrack, wonderful heritage, and a great place to try out the game, get a feel for it and see how it's developed with every build. The intro there from the various viewpoints showing you some of the different locations, times of day, you know, and just the general vistas, the view, the feel of Project Cars. It's a huge game that's taken years to build and come to this point, and I think going around Le Mans, the scale of the circuit, it's one we've seen in recent times, but certainly the detail shown here is incredible. This full lap of this race will be shown on a separate video, and there'll be links to that later in this video, and that'll be up in the next few days. But the sunlight effects you can see here, you can turn these off if you want, but they look absolutely fantastic. Really nice detail, running really smoothly there. It's going to be a treat for, especially for console gamers. I mean, one of the things that's special about Project Cars is the amount of different cars it brings together, the amount of challenges, different circuits, and the depth it's bringing to a console racing game above all else. And just the feeling of racing around lançado, you know, the sunlight, the time of day sped up on this video, but just a great feeling of what the drivers encounter as they work their way around. But motorsport starts at karting, and we have karting here as well, from the sun of France to the rain of the Chesterfield circuit. Going around here in karting, it's quite twitchy in the rain actually, but it's a lot of fun. You know, it's just one of those sort of fun little games that they've put in there. It's great to see it as an addition. It's something that's not covered in video games very often. As I'm jostling there for position, really nice over the shoulder view, giving you that authentic karting feel. Little touch of wheels there, no problem. And of course from karting you'll work your way up to Formula 1. And of course the weather's got even worse now. We see the stormy weather conditions running here. 22 cars racing around Hockenheim. Sadly isn't taking place this year, but racing around, very twitchy, quite tricky in the wet weather conditions. The F1 car, I would have preferred a bit more grip, but either way it's certainly one you're going to have to work at. I'm racing all these with the controller. There's one segment of this video I race with the wheel. Those of you, a lot of you asking about wheel use on consoles, I'm going to make a separate video looking at the wheel use, and that's going to look at it in more depth. And of course this is a near final build that you're seeing here as well. Not quite final, there are some little bits and pieces which were being worked on. But of course Cadwell Park, from the new Formula 1 to old, and racing around a very tricky circuit, but great fun all the same. I quite like the overhead view that you see in the bottom left corner there. Pretty authentic to where the camera views were at the time. And this car was really tricky to drive, and with all the bumps and undulation you have in a course like this, but it was a joy. Moving later in this race, again, this race will be up on the channel complete. There'll be a link to that as well. This circuit was really tricky. I had lots of requests for this circuit. Didn't know it very well. Raced around it, flew off a couple of corners and realised actually it is quite tricky, but got used to it, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. You know, in fact, even this car and track, you know, it felt so right. Racing around this last part of the circuit, love it. There's direction changes as I understeer through these corners. You've got to get the first part right to get the second part right, but there's a sausage curb there that will, well, it's not good for you if you hit it, put it that way. And of course the undulation makes the car sort of squirm around. Very tricky. Precision needed, but either way, wonderful circuit to include in the game. And of course, you know, looking at old cars, old circuits, we've got the old touring cars as well. The Ford Sierra RS 500 Cosworth. Think Toka, old Toka touring car game, and you'll recognise Snetterton here as well. Look at that. It gives you that old touring car feel, getting in the rain, full field of cars, racing round. Lots of fun to be had. And you've got these different British circuits in the game. You know, you've got Snetterton, you've got Alton Park, you've got Brands Hatch, you know, you've got Silverstone, and you know, for different types of cars, there's enough tracks in there to make a championship. You know, if you want to run the WEC Endurance Championship, you can run a number of different cars and courses on there as well. So it's great to see that for whatever your style of driving that you like, there's something here for you. And you know, but of course, working your way up to touring cars, you know, Renault Clios are lots of fun, reasonably easy to drive, and you know, of course, it's like Cadwell, you can see here. Great fun. You know, this is where it all starts, as it were, from karting up to these cars. A lot of great racing drivers in these cars, you know, that don't always make it to top flight motorsport purely because of sponsorship. It is tough trying to get the sponsorship to work your way up. So it's great fun to see this racing. And when you see them on the limit, it's always amazed at what those drivers do. Formula Golf, of course, again, another step on that ladder, working your way up in single-seaters, racing around Alton Park here. And again, running really nicely for me. Some of these videos will be up complete on the channel later. I'm working my way through. And of course, you've got those replay cameras. You can see some wheel-to-wheel action there. So give some space. And on the power quickly. This is the only segment in the video where I use the wheel. Worked perfectly for me. I was very pleased with the wheel so far. I didn't notice any issues. Lots more wheel content to come though. I know lots of you are going to be investing in a wheel for the first time, and what better time to do it than with a game like Project Cars. You know, it's got a great feel. It's really been developed well for the PC, and so that's converted to console. And you can see the visuals there, full screen of the helmet. Slight touch of wheels there, nearly lost it, but keeping it together. Again, you can see the fluidity of that helmet cam. And of course, a range of cockpit cam videos are going to be coming up on the channel. These links aren't active yet, but they will be in the next few days, and you can see the cockpit cam videos of the tracks you'd like to see. We have the Azure Coast, we have Le Mans, Cadwell Park, and of course Nordschleife as well. 2 laps on the Nordschleife racing round. Accidentally selected 2 laps, and so that was it then. I just had to get on with it basically. Not my best circuit, but either way, it's all nice to see it running really smoothly. And of course, Nordschleife will be in the BMW GT3, and here we see it actually. Bit of that racing round. Of course, this video is rendered at 60 frames per second. It's rendered in the highest bit rate we've run on these videos so far. We've really tried to maximize the frame rate on YouTube. YouTube doesn't always convert the frame rate exactly as I would like, so you're never seeing it exactly as smoothly as it is in the game, but certainly done our best to try and smooth it off and understand that. This was interesting because we started off on a grey day on the first lap, and then the second lap the sun starts to break through the cloud. It gives it that sort of authentic feel for the region, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, you know, anyone that knows the Nordschleife will know this looks really nice. And then there'll be the debate between different gamers as to which version is the best, no doubt. At the moment it's all frame rate, but it will move on to other things, no doubt, when the game is released. But the one thing that's great about it is if you're passionate about racing, you're passionate about cars, there's lots to enjoy here. As a motorsports fan myself, it's got everything I need in terms of motorsports in there, and I really enjoy that, and including motorsport through the ages. And you know, I just figured when I look at these old cars, where is classic? And I think Monaco, you know, and of course we have the Azure Coast circuit here, and I've been here, wandered around all of this, and it's great to see. You can see the moving parts on the car. Wonderful seeing it. It's really authentically put together. One of the best recreations of the circuit visually I've ever seen. And you know, I know it all quite well now, and I can tell you this is all bang on. Go past a little Italian restaurant there, of course, round down the hill to Fairmont Hairpin, Fairmont Hotel overlooking it there in the background. Great view to see the cars. They're so close to you when you're on those balconies going round. But from the sun of Monaco back into the rain, and of course, where do you get a bit of rain? Well, at Spa, of course, racing around here in the Audi LMP. And going towards one of the best corners in the world, really, one of the most exciting corners, Eau Rouge. Might not be as challenging as it used to be, but it's still an awesome corner. I understeer all the way through it in these conditions here, of course, and they've got horrible sausage curbs now on the left hand side. I'm A little bit concerned about those for Formula 1 later this year, but either way, Spa is a great circuit, and it's, you know, seeing it being built over the last few years, bits and pieces being put on there, you know, from the old trees that they had in 2011 and improving it bit by bit. Be really careful on those curves. The car spins out really easily in these conditions, even with traction control on. So generally speaking, some of these cars work better with traction control on. This one is a good example because it has traction control. Time there, and then on the power gently. Line the car up, getting nice and early here. It's nice. And you can see all the different camera viewpoints. I tried to cycle through as many viewpoints as possible in this video, give you all a nice view of seeing project cars, you know, how you want to play it. Everybody plays it from different viewpoints with their friends and online. Some of you will be competitive, some of you just want to do it for fun, and that's the great thing. This is all being driven with a controller, and different videos are being driven with different controller modes. So some are with a mode 3, which is what the game is a default, and some of them with mode 2, which is another option in there. I've selected mode 2, I'm going to say that I've not gone back since using it, but either way, working well for me. Driving here in the roof around California coast. You know, I was racing around this, and I remember seeing this sort of section and being almost a little bit disappointed in it a few years ago, and it's come on so far. It was a joy to drive and explore. Again, a separate video on this will come at some point. This car was really tricky, loads of power, trying to get it around the course. Feels almost a little bit Need for Speed in a way, just the idea of the sort of roadway in it, and that's what's brilliant. You know, it combines all of these different racing, gaming, and motorsport passions, and brings them all into one big package. It really just shows the achievement. You know, I wanted this video to focus on the cars, the courses, the AI that's fantastic, you know, the replay views, you know, the visual fidelity. You know, there's a whole package here that's come along, and that's great for racing fans. I looked for a way past, couldn't find it there. An attempt to get past this car in front, very tricky on these roads. They're holding the racing line and the apexes. Sometimes they'll be defending, sliding the car. Lots of rear wheel spin there. Wheels are spinning up constantly. I'm drifting now through there, just about managing it. More luck than judgment. You literally see some fantastic views on that course. It really is stunning. But at the end of the day, you know, what's really nice is just going for a track day at Brands Hatch on a nice sunny day. I've been there on nice sunny days. Many of you watching, if you know your motorsports, you live in the UK, it's a really nice venue to visit on a nice day to watch your racing and to go on a track day. And so here we are on a track day, racing with vastly more powerful cars. Not because I want to win the race, because I just enjoy the driving, and I just enjoy seeing these cars and everything else, and racing with them, hearing them, the smell at the circuit. You know, racing fans just like to drive. They like to feel the speed, they like to feel the energy through the car, they feel the rush that it provides, and then when you pass that, you pass any fear of driving, you then feel you just want to go faster and find that little bit more lap time, that little bit more grip, and it's just, that's where it bites you. And I think that in that sense, I just wanted to finish this video looking at something like this, where I'm racing in a car and just trying to maximize this car, you know, and you'll see just as I cut through the corners here, pushing it more and more, getting a bit more tire smoke in this next corner, grinding the tires around that corner, leaning the car on the suspension, you know. But we'll be looking more at the options, we'll be looking more at, you know, different aspects of this huge game. There's so much to look at and explore in the coming days and weeks, months, years possibly, you know, looking at how Project Cars developed across formats. Xbox coverage will follow in the coming days as well, as soon as we get some access on that, and there'll be lots more to look forward to. There'll be a selection, of course, of the cockpit videos that you see here as well. Do click on those, and there'll be lots of other Project Cars coverage on the channel. I've been taking note of the cars and tracks you'd all like to see, and I hope I've included some of those in this video, and there'll be a lot more to follow besides other Project Cars videos which are on the channel. Do check those out. But that's it from me for now in this video. There'll be more Project Cars action from me very soon.